Hello! In this video, I'm going to take you through a few exercises for healthy port de bras. I was inspired to make this video for two reasons. The first is that I see a lot of dancers who have been told to push their shoulders down and back to create a longer line in their neck and arms. While well-intentioned, this pattern can leave our dancers with some unhealthy movement patterns, which I'll take a moment to show you at the beginning of this video. The second is that while many of us are sheltered within our homes during the COVID-19 pandemic, we may find ourselves spending lots of time sitting in a relatively slumped position or doing lots of push-ups or pull-ups because those are the only exercises we can think to perform. Both this posture and group of exercises can further add to improper use of the shoulder girdle. So today, I will show you how the scapula moves and should move, and will teach you exercises for mobility, control, and stability. I hope you enjoy. First, I will take you through 6 movements of the shoulder blade or scapula. They can elevate or come up towards your ears. They can depress or go down away from your ears. They can protract or come forwards. They can retract or come back towards one another. And upwardly rotate as you go up to bring your arms up overhead, or downwardly rotate as you bring your arms back down to starting. One of the patterns I tend to see with dancers who have been told to bring their shoulders down and back is the following. When they bring their arms out to the side, their shoulders depress and retract instead of rotating upwards. This may cause clicking, popping, and occasionally some discomfort. Instead, a dancer should allow their scapula to freely rotate upwards for healthier shoulder movements like so. It may feel like your shoulders are coming up towards your ears when you do this, and relatively speaking they are, but this motion allows for improved mechanics, which will lead to healthier shoulders in the long run. Again, I'm showing you port de bras without freedom in the shoulder girdle, followed by a healthier movement pattern in the scapula, where we see free upward rotation all the way from seconde to fifth en haut and back down again. Before I take you through exercises for conditioning and control, I'll show you 2 exercises to gain mobility or freedom of motion in the shoulder girdle so you can effectively perform the exercises I'll teach you in the latter half of this video. The first exercise is for mobility of the latissimus dorsi or the lats. When they are overworked, such as when you press your shoulders down and back, they can hold your shoulders in a depressed, protracted, and internally rotated position. They can also cause your low back to arch into extension or lordosis, and your mid-back to round forwards or flex. Start flat on your back with your knees bent, and I want you to tuck your hips under so that your back remains flat on the ground. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Bend your elbows and bring your forearms together across your chest. You're going to keep your elbows together and your forearms parallel to the ground. And I want you, as much as you can, to bring your arms up overhead and come on back. Whole time keeping your elbows together, you might only move slightly. So you'll complete this 10 times without letting your back come off the ground. Once you're done with this, you're going to separate your wrists, keeping your elbows together, keeping your back on the ground, and you'll complete another 10 repetitions. The second exercise is for mobility of your pectoralis major muscle, or pecs, and your lats together. When you sit in a slumped position or perform a lot of push-ups, this muscle can bring your shoulders forwards in a protracted and internally rotated position. You're going to lie on your side with your knees and your hips flexed to about 90 degrees or more so that your low back doesn't move much during this exercise. Outstretch your arm to the front and slowly sweep it up and around, following it with your eyes so that your chest rotates to the back. Your objective is to try to get your top shoulder to the floor behind you as you go around. You'll repeat again, thinking about swiping your fingertips on the floor. And as you come around the top portion here, you may feel a stretch up in your armpit through your chest area. Try not to let your knees come apart from one another during this exercise. Once you've completed the mobility exercises, we can move into the conditioning and repatterning exercises. As a reminder, the majority of these exercises will focus on upward rotation of the scapula, which is a desirable movement pattern, as opposed to the one that we saw in the beginning with the depression and retraction of the shoulder blades while you move your arms into port de bras. For this exercise, you'll start with your arms at shoulder height. You will slide your arms up an imaginary wall into a Y position, focusing on rotating your shoulder blades up. I find it helps to reach through your pinky. At the top of the motion, you will retract your shoulder blades and bring your arms back without arching through the rib cage. Bring the arm forwards again and slide all the way back down. A few things to note. First, you can perform this exercise by sliding your hands up a real wall if you find that feedback helps. Second, you will want to make sure your upper traps are not taking over during this exercise. And lastly, you should repeat the exercise until you either become fatigued or you feel your form slipping. Next is shoulder external rotation with overhead press. For this exercise, you'll need a belt, towel, or strap, which you'll hold slightly more than shoulder width apart. Start with your arms in the position you see on the screen. Now turn out your arms and pull the band apart without bringing your shoulder blades together. Maintain the rotation of the arms as you bring your arms up overhead. I find that by reaching through my pinkies, I can get more upward rotation of my shoulder blades. Hold this position of the turning out of the arms and reach your arms up overhead again. You should not feel your upper traps taking over, and if you're doing this correctly, you should start to feel the muscles in the back of your shoulder blades. The second to last exercise is the quadruped T to Y. Start on all fours and lift one arm off the ground. When you bring your arm to the side, you should feel a slight retraction of the shoulder blade. Now swim your arm up overhead, feeling the scapula swing into upward rotation. Repeat several times on each side. A note about the supporting arm. I am pressing the arm firmly into the ground so that I do not sink on the supporting side or wing my scapula. I'll show you winging or sinking on this side. So that would be sinking and winging, and then I press out to support and do the exercise that way. The last exercise I'll show you is another exercise to strengthen upward rotation. You'll need a long, lightweight TheraBand. Sit on the TheraBand and hold either end in your arms. Bring your arms up through a la seconde and reach up as if to hug a tall tree. As you perform the exercise, you'll want to reach out against the pull of the TheraBand as if you're trying to touch the edges of the room. This helps to engage the muscles that upwardly rotate your shoulder blade, such as your trapezius or your serratus anterior. Repeat several times. Now you have a few exercises for healthier shoulder movement. Here are a few things to remember. These exercises can be challenging, especially if you are someone who does a lot of push-ups, pull-ups, or holds their shoulders down and back. If you fit into one of these categories, it can be difficult to feel if you're doing the movement correctly. Have questions? Let me know and we can work through them. Also, as always, none of these exercises should hurt. If they do, please stop. And lastly, thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something new.